Hello, welcome to Crafting with the Crafty Chick. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are doing a hand-pen Petals card with pastel colors, and we're going to be using one of our new ink colors, which is Fresh Freesia. And so we're using the hand-pen Petal stamp set, and we're using this flower image right here, and then the sentiment that I use, thank you so much, is actually from the Inspired Thoughts stamp set. And so it's this sentiment right here. So we're going to be using that one on this card. But I wanted to show you really quick how we did this one, because I did not use markers or Stampin' Blend to fill it in. I actually used our inks and a water painter. I have the old style Stampin' Up. This is a water brush, and they have different ones now where you can get 3 different sizes. I haven't gotten those ones yet, but so I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. But before we get started, I want to tell you something about the stamps now. Stampin' Up is making the inside of the cases, so we always had our stamps on these acetate sheets, but now they are making the cases where on the inside of our inserts, the cases have where you can put the stamp right over the image. And so basically you take your stamp off of your sheet, like when you're done using it, and you just line it up with the stamp that's on the case, and now they're there. Press it down so you can make sure that it's actually secure. But this is so nice because it's just easy to peel. Sometimes I have to fight with peeling them off of here, and then you worry about ripping the stamp. So just wanted you guys to know that they are doing this now for us to put our stamps on here if we want, or you can still put them on the acetate sheet. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is, again, I'm taking this floral image and we're going to stamp that in Smoky Slate on basic white. And we'll take our Smoky Slate ink pad and ink this up. I'll go ahead and stamp our image. And I'm stamping in the center of this piece because I want enough of a border so I can die cut. You want to leave some room for your die cutting. And there's our stamped image, and I'm going to give that just a minute to dry. And then I'm going to bring in our ink pad colors that we're going to use. And so I have Pear Pizzazz, Balmy Blue, Daffodil Delight, and then here is one of our ink colors for this year's Fresh Freesia. So we're going to be using all 4 of these colors to color this today. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and the first thing I'm going to do is, and I'm using our acrylic Stampin' blocks I'm bringing in to put our inks on. So we're going to start with the Fresh Freesia. Our biggest flower is colored with this color. And so I'm just taking the block, and you want to make sure that they are clean. And you just press it up against that. And so now you can see I've got purple ink on that. Go ahead and close this up. So I have my purple ink on here. You guys can probably see that. And I'm going to take our water brush, and I'm going to squeeze just to get some water down at the out of the barrel onto the brush tip. And you do want to have a piece of scrap paper underneath. So let me grab a piece of scrap paper here. Okay. Just because if you get too much water, you it can bleed through your paper, and you don't want to do that. So I'm just going to get some of that on there. And so now I'm just taking my brush tip and I'm picking up some of that color. So you can see that beautiful purple ink at the end of that brush tip. And also what you can do is to get an idea of, you want full strength color or do you want to lighten up your color a little bit. And then you just go in and fill in your stamped image, and you'll notice it's getting lighter. You can come in and pick up some more color and fill in your flower. And this is just really fun and also pretty quick when you have a nice big image like this. Now, as you can see, I have darker areas here. You can go in and fill that in some more, pick up some more ink, or you can just leave the darker areas and have variations of light and dark areas. And so that we colored one flower, and so then that's our first freesia. And now I'm going to come in. You always want to, when you're changing colors, you always want to clean your brush before you enter a new color. And now I'm going to bring our balmy blue in and just do the same thing. And so now I've got the blue, and the nice thing is these just rinse off really quickly. So very easy to clean. I'm just squeezing to get a little bit of water in there, and then I'm going to color our kind of our medium size flowers. This style of coloring is pretty quick too. I mean, markers is nice too. And you have to be careful when you're using these water painters. You don't want to keep going over and over and over an area multiple times, because what happens is your paper can start pilling, you know, where you get all those little balls. Now, if you are using watercolor paper, you don't have to worry about that. And then we're going to do Daffodil Delight. I'm bringing in another block here, and I'm only going to do about half. And so I have half yellow, and we're going to do Pear Pizzazz on the other part. And then these are going to be for the small flowers. And this is a great technique to use when you make multiples. You can knock out a bunch of these cards relatively quickly. And so that is our Daffodil Delight. And so I'm just cleaning off our water brush, and as you can see, the color is getting lighter as we go on. And now we're going to do Pear Pizzazz. So now if you don't feel comfortable doing the other half of a stamp block because you don't want to get ink transferring, you can absolutely grab another block or clean this off and then re-ink it. And I'm going actually less than half so that I don't get my ink mixed in. Okay, and then the Pear Pizzazz we're going to use for our leaves. And just fill in our leaves. I love coloring with markers, but this also is another favorite way that I like to color. And especially when you use watercolor paper, because it really just gives that watercolor effect. And there we go, we have all of our leaves colored. And that's how you do that. I mean, that's pretty quick and easy. And then we're going to clean off our water brush here. And then I like to, just to keep our tip pointed, I like to just take it and roll just very gently, and then that brings your tip back to a nice point. Okay. That is it for this project as far as coloring, so now you know how to do it. It's really quite simple and fast. And so I'm not going to do it for this time, but then you would die cut this image out. And I'll show you the dies for hand pen petals, and so you have this outline. And you would just line it up and then run this through your die cutting machine and die cut that out. Okay. Okay, and then once your image is dry, then I went over it with the Wink of Stella clear brush just to add some sparkle, but you do want to make sure that your project is dry before you do this part. And so I just did all the flowers, just to give them that subtle sparkle. I know some people probably think, oh, putting sparkles on flowers is kind of silly, but I like the look that it gives. Okay, so that's Link of Stella, and so now we have a little bit of sparkle on our flowers. Okay, so for our project, and so again, just to save time, I'm not going to die cut this out. I have done some of my prep ahead of time. Okay, so I'm going to set this off to the side. So this project is really, and I've already stamped our thank you so much, and I did stamp that in Smoky Slate as well, just so that it would pop on the fresh Freesia. So we have our card base, which is basic white, and it's 5.5 by 8.5. So basically, if you were to open it, so you have 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, and you would cut it at 5.5 by 8.5, and then you would score at 4.25. And so that is our card base. Make sure that your fold is up at the top. And then we have our first layer, which is fresh Freesia, and this is 2.5 inches by 5. And this is going to go toward the top of our card, and we're leaving a white border. And then we have in our annual catalog our 2021 to 2023 6x6 designer series paper. So these are all of our current ink colors. And this piece is from this cardstock pack. And so this piece is 2 inches by 5. And that one, again, we're just going to center and kind of make sure that border is even all the way around. And so you would adhere these two down. And then you have 2 of those pieces that we just watercolored and put sparkle on. I don't know if the camera is picking up that sparkle. They're so pretty. And then what I'm going to do, so we're going to go ahead and secure these down. I'm bringing in my mono glue. Just lining that up to make sure my border is the same on both sides. And then we're going to go ahead and attach our designer series paper piece. I think I need to get some more glue. I think we're down to the very last little bit of that bottle. And I'm just lining this up here. And then secure that down. And we're done with our glue, because our flowers, we're going to use dimensionals to put those on. So I'm just using our Stampin' Up! Regular dimensionals. And so there is a placement that I did. So both of these, if you notice, have 2 big leaves on one end. I actually took this one and rotated it. So just these 2 smaller leaves were on this end, and then these 2 bigger ones were on this end. And so what I'm doing is you're covering up that little gap there, so just overlapping, but you also want to make sure that you have these inside your card so they're not sticking out over the edge. It will make it really hard to put in an envelope. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and put my dimensionals on. And I think I'm going to use the mini ones for these 2 leaves here. There we go. And maybe one up here. And you don't have to put this many on. I like my dimensionals, and I like the height that it gives. Just that little bit of pop. And peel off our backing here. Okay, and again, you want to make sure your two smaller leaves are on this end. I'm going to go ahead and don't cover up your sentiment up there, but you do want to try to cover up your line. And so I'm just making sure that those are within. Okay, secure that one down. And on this one, your bigger leaves need to be on the inside. And we're going to go ahead and put dimensionals on that one. And then come in with the mini dimensionals on the leaves. Okay, and then we're going to peel our backings off. And remember, you want to cover up this opening right here, and you keep your leaves inside your card. There we go. And that is it. And the inside of the card I left blank, just because you guys know me, I like to write notes to my recipients. And so, but you can stamp a sentiment inside if you want to. But this is it. This is our project. Fresh Freesia Foils card. And yeah, give this a try. The water painting, it is really fun. And with your inks, I mean, you don't have to have all these colors. You can use whatever colors you want. And then your acrylic blocks, you can wipe them off with your Stampin' Chamois, the cloth for your stamps, or you can rinse them under cold running water, or you can use your Stampin' scrub too. So, and it comes off pretty fast. So, okay, well, thank you so much for crafting with me today, and I hope you enjoyed this project, and maybe I will see you for the next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.